Hi, it's working. Brennan, genius. This is the spaghetti situation of the chords. It's rough. But the logic that I'm working on, the social fabric, right? These are the threads, and this is my monthly 2 drinks right now. Okay, so, but it really boils down to how happy you are, not if you're buzzed or something like that. So the social fabric and the delivery of that fabric, that weaving is the delivery, the vehicle of the future. And well, um, I'm always trying to talk to girls, preferably of my age, of someone who is, we're always looking for beauty, right? This is truly our fantasy, our true fantasy, right? I'm actually wedged between a spot here. So the social fabric is basically a chair. Ouch. Okay. It's dark. Okay, it's late. Um, so, um, yeah. So I'm trying to work on the vehicle of the future with as the hardware and the software, and trying to get that into motion. Oh, tangles over here. Okay, I have to untangle that. Okay, so the social fabric is um, this really, really advanced thing. I'm talking with people is like it's like therapy. This is why I decided, okay, I'm gonna have to have a drink because it's not psychiatry because that's like this that's the great cop out, the great divide, the frontier psychiatrist. It's always looking, in the past, Hollywood is looking for the political cop out, the scapegoat. Whoa, excuse me. And so I'm trying to make this the whole picture, the big picture, um, sane. So psychiatry. This. Are you talking with someone you love, or are you like talking to a drug dealer or something like that? This is what we don't want to get confused at all. So you think about these these crazy people who go on the shooting sprees, right? The American type shooters, as well as your European Islamic shooters. Don't want to confuse. You don't want to separate those too much because they're both aliens. Okay, so if someone is really a native and they go they find some fault line, that's like, what is that? That's the love and war. So you come down to general happiness, and say, okay, so maybe some people are actually missing something. Maybe there's a political cartel, a drug mentality. And so this is, why do people abuse drugs? That's a great question. And you see it in a sociological, the predator is basically, trying to get you drunk, to get you into bed, and get her into bed, And so this goes from from when we're young to wherever, and, you have up into politics, right? Up in, middle-age politics. And we don't want to separate, we're always looking for the cop-out, the scapegoat. So, and so it's really difficult, and so I'm just going to go to sleep, I think, here, because I need to sleep. But I think I do, I don't know. But to know that is everything, to have this, but you know what I mean? Okay, so that's again the cop-out of assumption, right? I just assumed she was crazy about me, right? Which, so psychiatry, male, female, making these connections with the general happiness, to make sure that everyone, like, Bill Gates is saying, everyone deserves a good life. But look at this Newtown, Connecticut guy. He's on the East Coast, the puritanical Bible Belt, and he's, they say he's autistic. He's missing. He's not making the connection. Maybe, comparing this to the West Coast raised Batman guy, James Holmes. Again, very elusive stuff. There's apparently no manifesto there, not like the living Unabomber or the Norwegian, whatever his name is, the guy who goes on the shooting spree. These guys aren't suicidal. They're trying to put some message across. And so what you really have in this social fabric is you have a lot of different elements of it's complex, but it's only complicated when we ignore it, when we sort of say, our religion is to ignore normalcy, the ignormal. But so when you talk about psychiatry and the mind, you realize this, the Arizona shooter, he was on psychoactive drugs. He was, and also, the assassin, the politically motivated, but then, look at the far left wing. So you can say Jared Lautner, he's like the far right wing attacking the left. But how does it work on the other side to realize, the greater frequency? Maybe I was explaining how in America we don't drive on the left or the right, we drive down the middle. We just kind of weave in and out, right? like a dance, a gathering. Sort of is there an intersection, where you're going to find love with the vehicle? You see, this is very tangential. I was explaining to this woman earlier tonight. She says driving is just too chaotic. Someone wants to pass you right before they're making a turn. Sirens, right? I'm sorry about the sirens. Okay, so, and so it comes down to this vehicle where I notice my dad, if he's driving, if I'm with him, especially, it seems to like activate him because he's not from the West Coast. I grew up on the left-hand side, the left hand, not the left, but in that geographic, geocultural, geopolitical hemisphere, geocultural region geographic. Well, anyways, my dad, if he's driving along and there's a fancy Porsche in front of him, everything is just hunky-dory. But if there's some, like, jalopy or some little car, some ugly car, he's like, screw this, so I gotta pass this person, And so the question is, why aren't you always behind someone who you idolize? This kind of love, this social fabric where you are woven in, you are not being the guinea pig, the scapegoat, taking the drugs of someone else, the location, the geographic location of someone else in this political aura, I want to say, like, what I'm saying, like a political realities, so that, San Francisco, the politics are really, you got this blue badge, World War II, end of, sort of political payback type thing. It's really, you almost think it's funny, but, is that love or is that hate? So this is this question, what makes you happy? And when I'm poking at here a little bit, or I wish I was poking, is the mind and substances. So I've been eating a lot of beef in the last couple of days, and finally I said, okay, now I have to have a drink, So, and I'm also, using tobacco, but it's sort of when you wake up in the morning and you're really happy, you're like on the top of a mountain or something like that, you're out in the wilderness, away from the traffic jams. You only wake up this happy, this sort of, if you are of whatever, the right substance, the right exposure. So this actually goes, basically to Afghanistan, China, the opium of the masses, television is, what is, what are people eating, this is, how are people moving around, where are they supposed to be, what are people abusing, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I gotta go to sleep, because if I put this online, you're gonna start wondering, and the wandering, not the wondering, but the wonder of the wanderer, is really like the social fabric that has a rift in it, because the normalcy. Okay, so you come back to the normal, the normal social fabric. This is critical for our function algorithmic existence. I grew up near Silicon Valley, where the East meets West, ecotopia, the logging trucks, the redwood trees, and yet it's connecting people to their pragmatic reality. This is the social fabric, blah blah blah, going around and around. You either have it or you don't, and to have it in the wrong place, that's this shocking element, this sort of, tragedy, lightning bolts, lightning flashes, is it a positive charge or is it a negative charge? Destructive, or is it making, is it something it's really I'm trying to articulate on personal needs, and the exposure of self-esteem, but personal and social responsibility, as social responsibility, civilization. My stomach hurts. Too much food in my stomach. Constipated, I suppose. So finding these right elements in the right place at the right time, that's what we want to have. That's the algorithm that we want to enable. But we don't want to think about it because that won't, we say it's going to pull your heartstrings, your normative sociological order. It's either there or it's not, So if you have it and you're there at the right time, this age equation, this is everything. But to think about it, it's going to mess our heads up, because then we're putting a price on general happiness. We're then saying, realizing the chaos and running for the mansion out in the boonies, where you're protected from the greed of poverty, so that you can have the greed of another reality or fantasy of what you have and what you don't have at the right, so we just think, if I'm just at the right place at the right time, it doesn't matter if you actually have something critical to offer to the greater world, the greater social fabric. Are you functioning in that social fabric without mumbling? Okay, so that's me by myself, Brennan, slightly buzzed, and that's, I'm trying to say a whole lot more, but whatever. It's I'm not in the right place. I've been in Europe for a whole year, and I have not driven a car in a whole year. This is the first time in my life, not only that, I've been away from California, and in fact Santa Cruz, for an entire year. But I don't have that classic mobility that I've always had on the wild west coast of California, which is, social fabric and the world economy, so the social ecology of the social fabric. What is it? Is it filtering? Is it just holding about? Is it hoarding? Precious type of mentality, safety. The real estate bubble that only works as a social fabric. Okay, so 18 minutes. I don't know if anyone's going to listen. Thanks.